All right, we're live.
Okay, very good.
Not much to 197. Let it go.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to this workshop, the Town of Henrietta Planning Board on Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. Members present, Patricia Brill, Craig Eckert, Walter Liss, Marcy Reynolds, Billy Safranek, town staff present, Chris Martin, Director of Engineering and Planning, Luke Bushin, Deputy Director of Engineering and Planning, and Donald Young, Planning Board Attorney. At this point, I invite the board to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, our first item of business this evening will be the approval of the minutes from the July 16th, 2024 meeting. I know Heather had to make a correction based on some attendance last month, and I apologize that I didn't catch that when I reviewed them. But are there any comments or questions regarding the minutes from July 16th? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second. I have a charger for this. Don't worry about it. I'll go.
Thank you, Mr. Liss and Mr. Franek. You want that? Yep.
Yeah.
Give me 30 seconds to program.
Thank you so much. It was a long meeting. Yes. Appreciate it.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Are there any, what's the word I'm looking for? Abstentions? Okay, the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The motion or the minutes are approved. Thank you. Yeah, our one and only application this evening, application number 24-008. This is for a single family home at 197 River Meadow Drive. This will be for final site plan approval for a single family home in a residential R115 zoned district. Now, this project was originally approved in January of 2022 as application number 21-020. However, the approvals have since expired and the applicant is with us to get a current approval. Chair wants to recognize Councilman Barley. Thank you very much. Good to see you. And let's see, who's here representing the applicant, please?
Walt Baker, DSB Engineers.
Hi, Walt. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Sorry I couldn't be there in person.
Oh, that's quite all right. Would have been a waste of time to drive this far just for a few minutes. So thank you for being online.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It looks like he's
Yeah.
in Texas.
Yeah, I'm kind of out of state.
Well, very good, Walt. I'll let you describe the project briefly and then we'll move on from there.
Right. As you mentioned, we started this project, it's now over 2.5 years ago. We did get it approved and we were working with our surveyor for some details per Chris's comments. I did receive Chris's new comments and obviously they're technical in nature. Few things that are new, a couple things new, a couple general notes that he had on there from before, which we always work with Chris and comply with his comments. And we'll definitely take care of that. But we did have, my client got me working on some bigger projects, so we kind of shelved it towards the end of that year of 22. And then we had some difficulty with our surveyor and good guy. I've worked with him for 20 some years, but he's been doing other things. And so we ended up finding a new surveyor to address a couple of comments Chris had. So we finally got that cleaned up and I got the comments addressed and put those on the plan and called up Chris. And then he says, well, this went through the planning board. He says, your approval expired. So you're going to have to come back to the planning board to get it reapproved. So basically it's going to be the same structure as we had originally. And like I said, we'll comply with the drainage swales and whatever we have to do. And he's going to keep all the trees on the perimeter and a couple in the front yard. One of those will have to go for the utilities coming in because we need new water, new sewer. This is a vacant lot. So it's we're going to have to accommodate the new laterals coming in. But yeah, basically it's the same plan you saw. It's exactly the same plan you saw a couple of years ago. Just been updated with some Chris's comments and here we are.
Great. Well, what was the square footage of this property? Are the structure?
I think we had it on the plan, I thought, maybe we didn't. I was just looking at it now. It's gonna be a 2-story, no basement. And I think it was about 1,500 square feet.
1,500 or so? Okay,
And then it has a,
very
yep,
good.
and a 2-car garage. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Walt.
Mhm.
Chair will open it up to the board and I'll recognize Mr. Eckert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Yeah, everything looks good. Do we have an elevation of the house by any chance?
We do. Yep, that's on
Here,
there.
the
Yeah,
house is connected to the garage. Is that what I'm seeing?
correct. Yes.
But I'm sorry, I didn't let you answer that question. Do you have an elevation?
Yes, the elevation's on the plan. It's 527.5. It'll be slab on grade, no basement.
Oh, no, look, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, the house next door is 527.12, so 527.1. So we're just a few tenths higher than the guy next door.
Well, do you have a building elevation of what Mike is gonna build? I mean, what the house is,
Not with me. No, I don't.
I mean, it's not a requirement, but just curious.
don't do.
Yeah.
We're not
It'll be a
review.
2-story house, 3 bedrooms.
Well, not for a single family home, though.
It just looks weird being attached to the garage.
It's a very unique design. How many, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that was just my comment. So I just wanted to see what it would look like from the side, especially being, it's thin but long.
Right. I can get you one.
I was hoping to see a building elevation. That was
Two.
my only other comment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Eckert. Chair will recognize Mrs. Brill. You're welcome.
So I was struggling with my tablet to, every time I went to enlarge it, it did not do that. It just kept going away. So I was struggling to find out where the different entrances are to the house. Just wasn't clear to me. So here's River Meadow. Here's the garage double entrance.
Yeah, it's a single driveway that opens up to the double.
And then where's the entrance to the house?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's off the east side. and
I
one
was
of those
assuming
bump outs.
also, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
One of those bump outs.
Walt, do you know where the entrance to the house is?
We didn't show that the sidewalk. It is on the side of the house, more towards the midpoint. So it's kind of like where it says proposed house, finished floor elevation.
House here?
Yeah.
This whole weird thing?
Yeah, and then that's the garage. The 2-car garage is there.
Back
It's
here.
connected somehow.
It's back
Right.
here. Wow,
It's only a 50-foot wide lot, so.
Yeah, it's a narrow lot.
I got you.
So that's why this is just, to me, it's a little weird being so thin, but it's 2 stories, which is
Yeah.
fine.
Interesting. It'll still be probably one of the nicest houses on the street, so there's that.
Yep.
I have nothing further. I really wasn't seeing what I just saw on my, so thank you for that.
Also, Mrs. Brill,
I am.
thank you. Chair will recognize Mr. Liss.
This is gonna be on a slab, and I'm assuming that our other houses in this area all on slabs?
I believe so, because we're in that area where the floodplain condition occurred. So we have to stay above the 100-year floodplain.
Yeah, if I may interject, that area is certainly, a lot of them were cottages.
Yeah.
So, way back in the 40s and 50s. So
Right.
some of them may have crawl spaces. There may be a few basements. But anything of newer construction, typically because of the floodplain, has to be on a slab or elevated. But I'm sure there's a mixture of homes in there where some may have basements or crawl spaces of that, something like that.
And you're keeping all the trees remain, I'm assuming, but it seems like that. That's what's on the plan. Is that correct? All these trees,
Yeah, we want to keep as many as possible.
many as possible.
So everything along the sidelines would stay, like I mentioned, the one in the front yard, we do have the sanitary and water coming in, so I tried to separate them, so, but they're still falling under the canopy of the trees. So the one closest to the house, I'm afraid that might not survive based on, you still have to put a foundation and it's 4 feet deep for the frost line in the two utilities, so we can keep the one closer to the street, that would be ideal. We may lose the other one.
In the buffer, I noticed in the comments, you're looking for some buffering be put on the neighbors. You decide what you're gonna do there.
Yeah, Chris mentioned that. Like I said, we have, but then we also have to get a little drainage swale primarily on the left-hand side as you're, well, depends which way you're looking at the drawing. If you're looking at it the way it's located now, it'd be the left-hand side of the page. That's, and then the other side, we tried to keep the drainage, and then we got the trees that right on the property line around the neighbor's property. So we want to make sure we can get the drainage out of there as well.
Is this gonna be an owner occupied home?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's gonna be owner occupied. He may sell it. I'm not sure.
That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. List. The chair will recognize Mrs. Reynolds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The chain link fence I saw, is that on the neighbor's property or is that on this property? Cause it's a pretty long fence. It looks like it divides both. parts.
Yes. Yeah, it's, if it, well, actually, based on the survey, it's like right down the property line. The front corner, a lot of times, there's, when they put the fences up, sometimes they encroach one side or the other, but, we're not planning on taking it down.
You are or not? Or
We're
not?
not gonna take it down. No, we're gonna keep it.
Oh, okay, cause it said the existing chain link fence to be removed, but it is staying.
Yes.
Okay, that was my question. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds. Chair will recognize Mr. Franek.
I have no questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Franek. So Walt, you did say you can respond to all of Chris's notes and comments, correct? No problem there?
Yes, and as far as Mrs. Reynolds just said about the chain link fence to be removed, that would be the one that's across the front of the lot. That's just the front chain link fence. I'm sorry. I was referring to the ones on the side. There's also a chain link fence that crosses the front of the property. Somebody just had it up for, keep people out, I guess. But yeah, we'll take that fence down. That would go along the front of the lot. Excuse me.
Good. Mr. Martin, any more comments from you, sir?
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any more concerns from the board? Now the chair will entertain a motion. Yes, Mr. Barley.
Is this the same property that when I was on the planning board, it came before us and asked for a duplex? Is this the same property, same lot?
No,
I thought that was further south.
Mm,
Yeah, cause.
No, we never had proposed a duplex before.
No, okay. Are there any deed restrictions on this for square footage? Could we just be sure that area has some deed restrictions on it? And I just want to make sure whatever we're building, it doesn't go above any deed restrictions that may be on this property, because the last property that we had on before us at the planning board for a duplex, there's a restriction that we didn't know about until a neighbor wrote in about it. Can we just be sure of that? I'm Rob Barley from the town board. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
We'd approved this a couple of years ago. Would we have addressed that back then, Rob, do you think?
Something that you don't have to address. Just, we miss it, what I was told from the duplex.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost 99% sure there was never a duplex proposed on this lot.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Just because, the zoning changed from R215, which would have allowed it to R115, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago.
I didn't think that would, even if it is, I'm not sure that
I don't
it's
think
in
you
our
could fit-
purview, but I know there have been other
Right.
duplexes built up and down this road.
There have been in the past, yes, because it was R215. But I think when this came in, obviously it was not. It was R115, and being the lot's only 50 feet, I don't even know how you could squeeze a duplex in. I mean, let alone a single family home. but that's my 2 cents.
Mr. Young, do you feel we need to verify, there's a restriction or not, or?
I think, so typically I think the general law on this area is that, and Mr. Barley said it himself, that, really the planning board doesn't have jurisdiction over the deed restrictions, and those are, considered to be, a private enterprise and not something that, typically the board would
Okay.
address directly.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion. Okay, well, the chair,
Mr. Chairman, I'll enter a motion to approve the application. Resolution approval site application for 197 River Meadow Drive as written.
I'll second that.
thank you, Mr. Eckert. Thank you, Mr. List. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay, Walt, thank you very much.
Nope, thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry it took so long. Like my client, he had me going, and then we had surveyor issues, and so now he said, let's get this done. I said, okay.
Well, very good. We'll look forward
You
to having.
never know. Won't be
Thank
the
you very
first or
much.
the last one to start and stop, that's for sure.
Okay,
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, so our next actually piece of business is to address application number 24-006.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Application number 24-006. This would be for the Henrietta East Cell Tower, AT&T Centerline Communications. They've wanted to postpone their presentation this evening in order to address comments received from the residents and town staff. They'll be back most likely next month. They've asked us to toll the shot clock. What specifically does that mean? Is that?
Yeah, I had,
That.
so the shot clock is basically the federal rules that govern local permitting of cell towers. There's certain time limitations during which the local board has to process these applications. I had sent a note about it initially when this came in, I don't know, a few months ago, I think. But basically what they said in their email and what we want to happen is they're telling us, what I understood them to say is during this time between when they sent the email, when they give us our next meeting, which would be in September, late September, that doesn't count towards exhausting the time
Okay.
we have because we're waiting on them essentially.
Right, yep,
So we're
okay,
tolling a shot clock. Basically, we're not we're not using up the time we have until
Okay,
the
fair
application
enough.
while the shot clock is tolled. It helps us.
yep,
Yeah.
nope, that makes sense. So everybody understand that. So we're gonna vote tonight whether we want to allow them to do that or not, okay? So the chair will make a motion to toll the shot clock for the application number 24-006. May I get a second?
Can I?
Mr. Eckert?
Would it be out of line to have a quick discussion regarding the application, or is that?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I'm just like to voice my concerns over the fall hazard, and I don't understand the hinge concept. It hasn't been done before. I didn't find any research on it working, and, I'm not, again, shouldn't be, I don't want to talk outside my purview. I'm not a structural engineer per se, but, certainly stayed in the Holiday Inn last night, so I feel smarter. No, I'm just kidding. My engineering degree, I have some oversight to it, so I'm haphazard to, if it was staying where it was, which is my understanding was the possible application of the same location, I was going to vote no unless Don said that we didn't have that kind of a purview.
Yeah, no, I was gonna vote no also.
Okay.
Because I I drove the neighborhood, did not like how close it was
Too
to
close.
the properties and just the visual and out their
Well, they'll
front
put them
doors.
now everywhere and
Yeah.
that's not, I mean, then we would have to rewrite the code as far as proximity goes, because right now the proximity, I think, backpacks on the fall hazard. You know, we're getting the benefit of the proximity because of the fall hazard. If they're taking away the so-called fall off the hinge, we're losing the proximity to me. And
Yeah.
then we would either need to address that in the code. You know, to consider fall hazard or proximity to the height period.
I think it's good that that they're taking this extra time to reconsider options based on probably our concerns and the neighbors' concerns. And I think
Those were the 5 or 6 that were outside for.
yeah. Yep. So I'd be curious to see what they come back with.
Right.
I understand that spot works for the fire department because they're getting some revenue from that
Sure.
spot.
I
AT&T,
just think I think it's there could be a better location. I'm still not thinking it's great, but I'm thinking there's a better location on the fire department, but
I don't know why they couldn't put it out front. I mean, it's
north side is a possibility. I think Chris mentioned even there's a grass spot just off of the north doorway in between the garage or something, that, that'd be on the other side of the building, but still on the north, not on the west frontage, but
not as obtrusive
yeah,
and safer
maybe.
potentially. Yeah.
I
Any
don't
other
know.
comments, Mrs. Reynolds or Mr. Franick, regarding?
I was leaning to vote no as well. I'm just gonna stand with the neighbors.
Yeah.
Concerned over the visual.
Yep.
I'm not an engineer, so the fall thing, I'm sure it's a concern, but just out of the visual aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what they come back with.
Maybe that's a discussion for town board, Robert, that we take a look at a code, remediation in case these things continue to pop up.
So we have a motion to approve the tolling of the shot clock. May I get a second?
Second,
Mr. Eckert, thank you. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you, everybody. May I get a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mrs. Brill. That's 6:24. Okay.